Okay, we're joined today by Greg Patnude. He's been the subject of several AVFM articles and interviews so far. His court date was scheduled for today, this morning at 8 a.m. He was down in Virginia Beach, and the court date was canceled. And he is joining me now. We're in Arlington, Virginia, at the Columbia Pike branch of the Arlington, Virginia Library. They were kind enough to give us a room here for the interview. He's on his way out of the state, and so he stopped by, and now we're going to talk a little bit about the court case, what happened today, and what we think the future is going to bring. Greg, thanks for joining me today.
Thank you, Robert.
Yeah.
Thanks for lunch.
Sure, yeah, it's great. My pleasure.
It was, it was kind of convenient that I was in Virginia Beach this morning to,
Yeah, absolutely.
Thinking I'm going to court, and that you live nearby, and it's on my way to where I'm headed. So
Well, it was nice. It's good to be with you here today.
So,
So your court date was scheduled for today, and it was unexpectedly canceled. And
how convenient.
yeah, how convenient of them to cancel before you actually drove all the way down there. But right now, what they're hoping to do is they're hoping to have you settle out of court with your ex. Can you give us a little bit of what happened today, when you found out that the court date was canceled, and the information you know right now as it pertains to your case and what they're hoping to accomplish?
Sure, I can talk to that a little bit. I had been in Florida last week on a job, and it found it convenient to go from Florida to Virginia Beach, and I knew that there had been something placed on the judge's docket. I knew this back in end of August when I left Seattle, that they were going to hold a hearing in Seattle on August 28th, and then all items pending before the court were to have been moved to the judge's calendar for November, I thought it was November 7th. So I got there on Monday and called the court, and they said, no, your hearing is actually on Thursday, the 6th at 8:35 in the morning is court call. And so, I made arrangements. I hung out in a neighboring state, so I wouldn't be trespassing in the Commonwealth, because God forbid I should actually commit a crime, actually be physically present in the Commonwealth and commit a crime. It could be a really bad thing. And so I made preparations to, show up for my court date Thursday morning. I drove to Virginia Beach this morning to go to for that hearing.
Right.
And my attorney had told me, David Good had told me yesterday during our conversations, that he wasn't sure that it was on the calendar anymore.
Right.
Now, I had called Monday and confirmed that it was. I confirmed it with the judge's clerk.
Right.
And then when my attorney got involved, they realized that I was represented and that I had every intention of showing up, probably showing up. The hearing suddenly got canceled.
Right.
But in between there, not only did they cancel the hearing, they lost the court file. And the court file is the charging documents, essentially. It's the court's copy of the case.
Right.
That went missing all week.
Oh.
And so my attorney now hasn't even reviewed the case at this point. While he was on the phone this morning trying to figure out the status as to are we having a hearing or not. Now, he had also contacted the DCSE, the Child Support Agency's attorney, the Commonwealth Attorney General, a gentleman named Mitch Brody. Mm-hmm. And my attorney told me that according to the DCSE, we're on the calendar. So I've been told we're on the calendar. The DCSE is expecting to be on the calendar. Mm-hmm. My attorney's expecting to be on the calendar. And then we find out this morning that it's not on that the case file's been misplaced and it's no longer on the calendar. How convenient is that?
Interesting. Why do you think that? I'm sure it's all conjecture now, but why do you think what do you think motivated them to cancel the court date, and also to conveniently lose the file, and as if there was nothing on the docket to begin with? Why do you think that might be? Were they not expecting you to put up a fight? Do you think?
I don't know what they were expecting. I don't know what anybody was expecting, because in this case, the left hand really doesn't even know that it even has a right hand.
I see. Right.
It would only be theory if I were to theorize and postulate. it seems awfully convenient that the case file goes missing and then the hearing gets removed from the docket, but everybody's expecting to show up. Also miraculously this morning, my attorney got a phone call from my ex-wife's attorney saying, how about a settlement? Let's settle up.
Okay.
So, and their position is that they can make the contempt charges and the warrants and the extradition warrant and the governor's warrant and all this stuff, that they can convince the judge to make it go away
Right.
if I'll settle up.
I see.
And they're asking for $100,000.
Gotcha.
So I'm being extorted. I mean, it's obviously extortion at this point. I don't owe $100,000. I owe $9,505 in interest. And they asked us, they suggested we make an offer. And so we did. We offered a settlement.
For the amount that you owe.
Yeah, it's on the table. Yeah, for the $9,500 that I actually owe.
When-
And that the state shows I owe. The state records show that I owe. And that's interest. It's not child support.
Right.
It's just unpaid interest that's accumulated over the last 7 or 10 years.
Gotcha. When will we hear back from them? Do you know? Could be tomorrow, could be next week.
Maybe, maybe not. In the meantime, I'm still in the place I was last week.
Right.
And, I've made good faith efforts to go to court, to show up. I put myself in jeopardy. I'm at risk of, right as it stands, spending a year in jail. But I am actively trying to fix this and to be in the right place at the right time and to do the right thing. And when I try playing by the rules and within the framework that they have built for me, they change the game,
Right.
change the framework, change the rules.
Change everything, right?
Yeah.
And there's no, and they of course, as a family court, they have no accountability as to, they don't even have to show the paperwork. Right? They don't-
I don't even know who actually canceled this. I don't know if it was ever on the court's docket. I don't know if we're being manipulated or if it really is truly convenient or what. But it seems unusual that a private citizen and her attorney are able to influence a judge to make a warrant go away if I agree to pay money. But if I offer to pay money, I can't get the judge to do the same thing for me. And I've offered to pay the money. I've been paying the money. This offer's been on the table actually,
Right.
for the last 10 years.
Right.
So the scales of justice are heavily weighed.
Right. So, do you,
What do you really think that they'll just take the $9,500 and
No.
no? Do you think they're just going to continue to ask for more? I mean, is the extradition order still in place? as
Yeah,
far as
there's still a governor's warrant out in Washington State for me. So if I'm picked up in Washington State, they're gonna take me in front of the nearest magistrate and put me into that whole fugitive from justice governor's warrant pipeline. So there's still a governor's warrant out there. There's still we don't even know what the charges are in Virginia. I don't know if they're contempt of court or failure to pay support or what. I've never seen the warrants. I've never been served. I have no clue what's going on here other than the fact that they've completely turned my life upside down.
So there were a number of meetings in which you were not present, where new orders were formed, new decrees were brought up, and you weren't even served with any of that paperwork, right?
That's correct.
Can you get your hands on that, or they just?
I have some of it. Some of it has started to surface in subsequent filings. So what an attorney will do is they'll file something and they'll say, look at Exhibit A because it shows what happened in this other hearing.
Right.
So that's how I've found out what some of the sequence and the cycle has been here. Is I would see a filing from a month ago or 6 weeks ago that has documents in it from 6 and 7 years ago, and documents from hearings that were held 6 and 7 years ago, for
Right.
which I was not served.
Gotcha.
Okay, my attorney was threatened with contempt when he argued that they violated due process, and this goes back as far as it was December 2006.
What did I mean? How did they justify the contempt? And they
I wasn't there. I don't know.
Right.
I wasn't there. I wasn't there to commit the contempt.
Right.
The problem with contempt is there is definitely contempt in that courtroom.
Sure.
I will guarantee that. And the contempt seems to be for my civil rights and for due process.
Let's talk about the judge. I'm sorry, what's her name again? Judge.
The judge assigned to this case is a female judge named Deborah V. Bryant. I believe this is her second term as a family court judge. She served as the presiding judge or the chief justice for the division there, for the Virginia Beach Juvenile and Domestic Relations Court. She was their chief judge for a period. There's a total of 7 judges in Virginia Beach, and they're kind of a district. They are a district court, but they are the family court.
She's been the one that's handled your case all along, right? Since 2006, right?
Since prior to that, since around 2003 or 4.
Oh, okay, great.
Yes. She's the one who sentenced me to a year in jail back in 2004.
Right.
Yeah. Same judge. She's been active on the case forever.
She's an elected official, or is she appointed? You said term, but sometimes I didn't see that.
I'm not sure how the judiciary system of elections works in Virginia, in the Commonwealth. I read it once, but it was something that wasn't that important to me.
Right.
I believe judges in Virginia are elected and they run for the office, but then they are somehow ratified or approved by the Superior Court,
Right.
a judiciary council.
I see.
So just because you get elected, I don't think it's automatic that you get the job. I'm not sure.
Right.
Not clear on that.
Now, to your knowledge, there aren't, obviously there's some abuse of the system going on. The system itself is abusive. But there's this one judge you've been dealing with. To your knowledge, do you know if there's ever been any other people like yourself who've been through the ringer in the same manner that you have with the same judge? Are you aware of it? Or?
I'm not aware of any, but
You haven't been looking either.
I can't look.
Yeah, no, right. Sure.
It's not a court of record. There is no case law in family court.
Right.
So, who knows what one judge decides compared to what the next judge is going to decide. And it's family law, so it's kind of isolated and compartmentalized to each individual family. They don't publish court records or court documents, and they're ostensibly they're trying to protect the family, but that's like Occam's razor.
Right.
That policy cuts both ways because it also protects the court and it protects people from being exposed for any wrongdoing. And so I think that's one of the things that I would lobby for some change in.
Right. Let's talk about the future. So let's say
My future?
no, you're okay. Well,
I'll tell you, man, my future's so bright, I gotta wear shades.
So okay, let's say, as a for instance, your ex-wife finally gives up, which she probably will, and says, "Okay, I'll take this 92." Is it? He says 92.50 or
9505 63.
Okay. Let's say she just takes that money.
Is this called $9,500?
Okay,
That's what it is.
Let's say she just takes that money and says, "Okay, I'm done fighting. I'm not going to get anything out of this." What are you going to do from there? Or let's say they insist on the entire $100,000. But what do you intend to do in that case? Do you have any intention of paying off more than you owe?
Well, I don't have children.
Yeah.
I have adults. My children are 27 to 28. The child support days are over. That's for minors. That's for children under the age of 18. I already went above and beyond the legal requirements. I agreed to pay until they were 22 to go to college. Both of my kids have college degrees now. They're both engineers. They're both off to a good start in life. And this isn't child support. I'm sorry, but this is, some sort of sick, twisted, vindictive, vengeful hostage situation, and so I don't have any more child support to pay, and I don't care if you throw $100,000 or $1 at me. I don't know. There's no more child support to pay. My children are grown. I'm done with that, and it's paid off. And the records that are on file with the the Virginia Division of Child Support Enforcement, they say I have a $0 balance on current support, I have a $0 balance on arrears, and they're asking for $9,500 in interest.
Right.
And I'm prepared to pay the interest. I mean, I don't think it belongs there, and I think it could be challenged. There are some legal questions about that. There's some documentation that's not on record,
Right.
that's necessary in order to collect, for the state to collect interest and to charge you with interest. And so it could be challenged, but I'm willing to pay the interest.
Let's talk about how they got to the amount of $100,000 now, $130,000 now.
There is no document, you said documentation, there is no documentation as to how they came up with this number that you're aware of, or that they've shared with you.
Actually, there's a partial page of a spreadsheet that they provided that says this is actually the right amount, Your Honor.
I see.
So that was done in their last motion to the judge, to the court. They're claiming, just and it's just an arbitrary amount. Where it came from is a little bit complicated if you do the math. I signed a consent order in 2004. I was in jail, and I had an arrears prior to that. And what the consent order did was says, lump sum cash settlement, the arrears is wiped out, we're going to waive some of it, and if you do this, we will reduce your child support from $1,600 a month to $1,000 a month. But you're going to pay child support until your kids are 22.
Right.
That was the agreement. So we've got two numbers. We've got a $1,600 number and we've got a $1,000 number. So in order to get the $1,000, I had to jump through some hoops and I had to hand over 40 grand.
Right.
Honestly, $40,000. And to earn the discount and to earn that reduction. And so I did. I've been paying $1,000 a month. That was my child support bill. So I obviously earned the reduction. And they're saying that I didn't make every payment on time, therefore I no longer am eligible for that reduction. And let's revert the whole thing back to the $1,600, the prior number, and then you multiply, the difference is $600. So it's $600 a month for the 4.5 years that my kids were in college.
Right.
And if you multiply that, it comes out around $54,000. And then if you put interest on it for the last 10 years, it looks like $100,000.
Right.
That's where they've come up with this number.
I got you.
The thing is the Division of Child Support Enforcement does this all the time. They enforce child support orders. They're very good at it. They enforce thousands of child support orders, and they have to read each one individually and figure out what it means. If I were not eligible for that discount, the division never would have given it to me.
Right.
So according to the Division of Child Support Enforcement, who evaluates and makes the determination as to what your monthly obligation is, I'm in the clear.
Right.
On the $1,000. I earned it. And they're trying to redact that and basically set the clock back 10 years.
I see.
And it's all about greed.
How much have you paid so far in child support?
So
I mean,
far?
yes, I mean like the entire time that you've been under.
Do I get to add legal fees?
Sure.
How about lost wages for being in jail?
Sure.
How about jobs I've lost? I'll handle that separately. Travel, legal battles, all this stuff. Well, by my records and the child support agency records, it looks like $241,000 has gone to child support.
Right.
Okay. And then the next $9,500 in interest, which I'm apparently obligated to pay. So pretty close to $250,000 over 20 years. That's since 1993.
Right.
There's money before that wasn't accounted for
Right.
during the separation period, which was 28 months. There's other monies that doesn't include, like attorney's fees and travel costs to go to court in Virginia and that kind of thing. So from an investment perspective, I'm in it a lot deeper than that.
Right. Well, of course, I wish you luck, and I want to thank you again for joining us today. We'll be continuing to cover your case. And we'll be keeping in touch.
I know.
Thanks a lot for joining us.
Thank you, Robert.
And again, good luck.
Thank you.